It's now time to hear from the young Turks of Hubli and share their success with you. To enable successful leaders, we require ecosystems. And to create ecosystems, we need to nurture them. Friends, it's very well said that just a spark requires a fire to ongoing. Friends, I'm proud to say that we have got many such sparks in Hubli who are lighting the fire of entrepreneurship and leading to success. Let's invite the young entrepreneurs, the young Turks of Hubli. I would now like to announce these 6 names who are present with us today. There are many young Turks in Hubli coming up, because you have heard that Hubli is really a very successful place for all the young Turks who are taking it up. But we will call some 6 of them out here and listen to them, their success, and how they have taken themselves forward with all the difficulties and come forward. The first one whom we would like to invite here today is Nanopix, Mr. Shashi. Nanopix is an image processing product company. Welcome, Shashi. The second one is 7 Beans, Mr. Gaurav. Mr. Gaurav Shah is into business of serving happiness based out of coffee. Welcome, Gaurav. The third one is Next Drop, Miss Anu. Her business is to create better tomorrow through timely information. Welcome, Anu. The fourth panelist is Biosil Technology, Miss Sara D'Souza. Biosil Technologies is into manufacturing and marketing of biotech products. Welcome, Sarla. The fifth one is Sankalp Semiconductors, Mr. Prabhat Agarwal. They are into analog and mixed signal semiconductor services. The sixth one is NDIS Private Limited, Mr. Vijay Mane. NDIS is an IT company focused on providing efficient design solutions in the field of photography. Welcome, Vijay. It's a pleasure inviting Rashmi Bansal, who will take over the session. A brief introduction of her. Rashmi Bansal, she is the author of 4 best-selling books of entrepreneurship: Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish, Connect to the Dot, I Have a Dream, and Poor Little Rich Slum. I'm sure most of you all have read her books. Her books have sold over 500,000 copies and been translated into 10 languages. She mentors numerous young entrepreneurs and conducts motivational talks and for corporates. Rashmi is an economics graduate from Sophia College, Mumbai, and an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Rashmi, I please invite you onto the dais. Friends, a big round of applause. Thank you so much, Rashmi, for sparing a valuable time at this evening.
Thank you, Vijesh, and it's wonderful to be here to meet with 6 hungry and foolish young entrepreneurs. I think the entire day we've had a lot of very interesting sessions, but you know, those are the moon sessions. Why are they called the moon sessions? Because anybody wants to guess? It's a small PJ. Mostly we invite on the dais those who have many years of wisdom, and many times, you know, it reflects in the bald pate. So today, I think the sun or the future is these young people. I'm sure not all of them have reached the peak of success today, but they're somewhere in the early stage. And many times it's very inspiring to hear about the kind of struggles, the kind of challenges that you face at this stage. And much later, of course, you know, you get featured in Hungry and Foolish category of books. So without further ado, let me just ask each of you to introduce yourselves, what you are doing, and why are you doing it in Hubli? Because I think the question today is why come to Hubli? There are many opportunities in other cities which are much bigger in size. So what is it that you're doing in this city? Why are you doing it? And I'd like everyone to be very brief and snappy so that, you know, we can have a fast-paced session. So I'll start with Nanopix.
Yeah, I am Sashi Shekhar. I am CEO of Nanopix Private Limited. We are into image and video processing application development. We are developing products in the area of food processing, security, healthcare, entertainment, the multiple segments. And the first commercially successful product that we have is a machine called Nano Sorter, which is capable of sorting cashews, badams, pistas, and high value products. By grading, we are increasing the value of the product overall. So why we are in Hubli? I would say, I'm basically from Bangalore. I worked in Wipro for about 8 years, and then wanted to do something on my own, and I found Hubli. I'm fundamentally from Tamil Nadu, but still I found Hubli to my home, and we are already moved in with family, and we are rocking actually in Hubli. Everything I feel somehow in my life has happened in the past 3 years. I'm in Hubli. That's why I'm in Hubli.
So you have immigrated to Hubli now. Green card should be issued to you. Hubli green card.
What I found is I don't have to be issued. It's like I am collecting it from every home here.
Hi, good evening everybody. My name is Gaurav Shah. I run a company called Seven Beans. Very simply put, we are in the business of serving happiness based around coffee. So we have one outlet that's located at Vidyanagar, and we have another outlet that's coming up in Gokul Road. And currently around 10,000 people visit Seven Beans on a monthly basis.
And why are you in Hubli?
Very simply put, I understand Hubli. I am from Hubli, and I know all these people who are here, and I understand Hubli like the back of my own hand. So it's a market that I'm very comfortable with right now.
Okay,
thanks.
Hi, my name is Anu. I'm the CEO of NextDrop. And what we do is we actually partner with governments and utilities, and we provide information to people. Our current product is partnering with the Hubli Dharwad Municipal Corporation and telling people when their water comes. It's a great segue from the last session. Our next product is actually working with them to better manage water and actually bridge that gap between people and the government, so you can actually communicate, and it's a two-way channel. And the reason we're in Hubli is the water crisis is everywhere throughout India, but in Hubli you actually get to isolate the problem, and it's much easier to solve, and the government is actually really great and really receptive to these solutions, and very receptive for entrepreneurship and trying out new things. So that's actually why we're in Hubli.
Wonderful. I'm Sarah D'Souza. My venture is Biocell Technologies. We manufacture and market biotech products. It's a new startup, and I'm proud to say that we are the winners of the Tata First.NEN, India Startup 2013. Also, we are ranked as in India's top 40 innovators at the i3 National Fair. We developed this company just 6 months back, and we cater to providing creative solutions and innovative ideas in biotechnology. That's our main goal.
Hello, my name is Prabhat Agarwal. I am one of the co-founders for Sankalp Semiconductors. Sankalp is into chip design space, wherein we provide analog and mixed signal services to MNCs like Texas Instruments, Intel, AMD, and we do designs for them. Our objective of forming this company was to create a semiconductor company in the world, which is one of the best, and something to do from India. So the thread was India, which is very common for our core team. And hopefully it happened because of BBB College, because we wanted to create a Stanford kind of a model. And Dr. Ashok Shettar has welcomed us with a red carpet. So it was not in our map, it just happened as an incident. So we are very thankful to this city.
Good evening, one and all. My name is Vijay Mane. I am a co-founder of a company called NDIS India Private Limited. We are into photo book design solutions. Collectively in India, the photo book printing capacity is around 200 million photo books a year, whereas at present only about 15 million photo books are being manufactured. So is that all the printers, thousands of printers have got the wrong idea about the business? We feel the answer is no for that, because the acute bottleneck is there in the photo book designing space. And we come here as a design solution provider. Our solutions can enhance the productivity of a designer by about 800%. So that's where we look at, and the solutions our clients who are using, that helps them to scale up their business much faster. So that's what we do as per business. And to question about why Hubli, Hubli is my hometown, and though 50% of my life I have spent outside Hubli, the idea was conceptualized here. So we started as a pilot, and while starting itself we had a sort of objective that once the pilot is through, we will take it up to Hyderabad. In fact, I operated Hubli Center from Hyderabad for about 2 years. But I see that the positives are much more in place like Hubli. No doubt there are problems, but I think what advantages Hubli offers, personally we have not been even able to utilize 25% of that. So I think it's more that we need to capitalize on that. Now I have relocated to Hubli about a year back, and we have taken a decision that Hubli will remain the core center of our business.
Although Hubli and Belgaum, the Harvard area, is very well known for educational institutions, so far most of the young people actually, after getting education, they leave to get jobs outside. Few of them come back and they join the family business. But, Gaurav, for example, you have a family business, but still you've decided to do something different. And I think same is the case with Vijay, isn't it? So is that a new trend happening that, people who are young Turks, they're really looking to build something new and different than what they have inherited?
Would you like to answer that?
And was it easy to do it? I mean, generally your parents might expect you to just follow the path that they've already created for you. So how do you do it?
About me, I always feel that doing the same thing for a long time is sometimes it gets too bored, and I see there is a lot of scope that can be made use of, especially in the field of technology and the innovation. So this is a concept which actually sort of give a kick or a thrill to me, that we still feel that if what we have developed, the innovation we have made, if we execute, I think we will not be less than a company like Google in the world.
No, that's fine, but when you went and told your family that I'm starting this new business, did they say, yes, wonderful, I'm supporting you, or they said, pagal ho gaya hai?
In my family, though we have, it's a family enterprise, we have different companies, and we brothers look after different companies independently. So it was a choice, and I think there was a support, though there were questions, how is it going to happen, but I think I was able to convince.
Gaurav, what was your experience?
My father was, he's very supportive now. He was a little apprehensive because these kind of businesses generally don't do well in Hubli. If everyone remembers, Pizza Hut, which was right beside my home, shut down. It was brutally shut down, and it was like literally put up over there. That and there's a lot of examples that were given that, hey, you know what? No one's going to buy 60 rupees, 70 rupees coffee in Hubli. And I think the point that you made is, critical. I mean, in the 21st century, a lot of my friends who I did my MBA with are going on to seek their passion. People are reading these stories about people climbing mountains to search for who they really are, and then coming back and doing businesses. And this is a new trend. And a lot of my friends are doing stuff that is not connected with their family business. So in the initial days, to all the youngsters as well, there is going to be a little bit of apprehension, because a business is existing. It is doing a turnover of 5 crores, 10 crores or whatever. And your family expects you to take care of it. But then at the end of the day, you need to do what makes you feel like going to office in a Monday morning. And the moment you feel in the first Monday morning that you don't feel like going to office, you should probably change and do something that you like.
Okay, how many people in the audience are part of a family business here in this area? Okay. And how many of, I think many people I see who are, looking like well established. So if your children want to do something different, are you going to support that? Yes. Okay. It's great to hear that. Sarah, I want to know from you, you've just graduated recently from this very college, from BVB Engineering College, and I'm sure you could have got a very good placement, gone to Bangalore, maybe gone abroad for further studies, but you've decided to stay on here and do this kind of enterprise of your own. So can you tell us a little bit about how you made that decision and how other students from this college and from neighboring colleges, something about your journey, how did you start this company?
Actually, it's very smooth to get a job and then go and then just work daily and then you get your pay at the end of the month, and that's everything. That sounds very nice. But there's another thing that I would say, that you should follow your dream, because I personally thought that if I wouldn't have followed this dream, I wouldn't know what would happen with it, whether it would be a success or a failure. So there's no harm in trying something new.
So you did this as part of your college project or internship, or how did you actually decide this is what you want to do?
No, it was just out of a hobby that I tried it out.
So in your free time, you were doing something more than the syllabus, and
yes.
Okay, so you can make use of the laboratories and facilities you have here.
Yeah, the college has given me that freedom to use the
I think we often have a lot of these facilities, but then we don't make use of it, because I think the trend is that it's most important to get into the college, get into the best college, engineering, and then after that we don't need to really work too hard, and वो तो सिर्फ exam के 2 दिन पहले ही पढ़ाई होती है. So it's wonderful to hear that you're doing something related to your field and that too of your own. Anu, from your accent I can tell that maybe you've studied abroad or lived abroad. Yeah. So again, I'm a little curious to know about your story, and I'm sure everybody here too wants to know.
Yeah, I actually was born and raised in the US, in California. And my parents were not as supportive about moving back to India, where they came from. But it's something that I really was passionate about. And I had a job at a startup in the US. You were saying, it wasn't what was making me happy. And then Nextdrop came around, and it was either I quit my job and moved to India, or Nextdrop died. So I decided, might as well try it out and see what happens. So.
Okay. Prabhat, you mentioned that you were one of the first people to come to Hubli.
Yes.
So much before TIE and all this, ecosystem existed, you had taken the decision to come here. So tell us a little bit about that.
So ecosystem, there are different aspects of it. One could be from business point of view, and one from the personal point of view. So personal point of view, I was married, no kids, so it was great fun for us. We just come to the city and just enjoy our life. And from the business point of view, being in this services business, we needed very few resources. One is good internet connectivity and good engineering colleges around, and our base was BVB College. So we were pretty confident that we should be able to generate a lot of good people from here. And our model was to generate talent from the college. So it means that we were abstaining hiring from industry, like Dilip Shenoy mentioned. A lot of people try to poach. So that was one of the reasons why we went into services, because we wanted to build the manpower in this domain. So just to give you some figures, in India, the domain that we are working in, which is analog and mixed signal, we don't have more than 5,000 people. And right now, Sankalp is about 450 people, which is close to about 10% stake. We have grown in 7 years about 20x from first year to now. And right now we are about, one of the top 100 red herring global company, which is only one semiconductor company from Asia and Europe. So I think our team has done a fantastic job, and the biggest part is the values that we actually instill in ourselves, and as well as the culture that is there in the organization. Since we are building it from scratch, I think it is long and sustainable, so nobody can really come in and really disturb the culture. So that has taken us a long way. apart from the resources that we talk about in Hubli?
Well, one interesting thing I find, Prabhat, is you are not from Karnataka. You are not having any roots or any relatives or any reason like that to be here. So do you see that a lot more people will be coming to Hubli who are not from here? Like one thing is that I'm from here, I have emotional connection, I have, family connection. So that's one incentive to move. But do you see a lot more Agarwals and Kapoors and Guptas and...
To answer that question, I think I mentioned in our vision statement when we thought about Sankalp, I think we wanted to do something from India. Honestly, I personally, and I'm sure none of my team members who were, including Vivek, we all started together and none of us were from Hubli. So it was basically, we had the concept from India, doesn't matter where it belongs. So far we can do from a base which can give us the best platform to start with. In India, we should be able to take it up. So be flexible for that. I think that has helped us a lot, and in fact that has also, I never think that I am not from Karnataka. I have stayed in Karnataka for more than 15 years. Another 3 years I think I will be more of Karnataka than West Bengal because I am born brought up in...
Kannada mein bol ke bataiye.
Kannada gottilla.
Okay, pass. Shashi, what are the challenges that, we have heard about the advantages now and everybody is being very gung-ho, but let's just take for a minute, like there must be some challenges of doing business in Hubli specifically and even, the field that you're in. Can you just share some of those?
If my job was to list disadvantages, I don't think it is actually very a point, because as an entrepreneur, what I've seen always is the plus. For example, we can say there is no such solid product development experience like in Bangalore, in Hubli. But what we have got is 2 engineers who just graduates who hold patents in their name because they worked with us. So, and then the other limitation that we can say is that it is very tough to get electronics manufactured, or it is very tough to get a few components manufactured from here. But on the other perspective, if you really see, we've got people who would like just diploma holders doing job far better than postgraduates working in Bangalore doing value for us. So what I'm trying to say,
you have to train them and raise their
what I feel is somehow the perception itself has been wrong, that possibly was not possible. The simply opportunity was given and then they have proved themselves to be more capable than what a person who is supposed to be capable of doing it is. So I believe there is nothing called a challenge. It's basically how deep we see into the opportunity and then we are able to tap on the talent as well as the facilities available to actually leverage on this system.
That's wonderful to hear. Well, we have a few best ways to just go and stick on to one of them and just, learn it by observation.
I think I just want to add one point. It depends on the individual, because a lot of times there are people who can walk on the uncertain path pretty easily. That comes naturally to them. Some people who want to enter into this journey need certain preparation. So it basically depends on individual. Some people would feel, yes, it is important, and some would not be. So I think it should be okay.
I want to add a point. I had a 6 months course at TAI Hubli to become an entrepreneur. I was executive director for 6 months, met entrepreneurs for 6 months, I became an entrepreneur.
Okay, wonderful.
Can I just add a point to that? What is entrepreneur? What is entrepreneurship? What skills are required? Do you have to be a good communicator? Do you need to know HR? Do you need to understand what is cash flow? A part of it can be taught in an MBA class, a part of it won't be. So it's not going to be the 100% solution, but it's going to help you a bit at least.
Just very quickly, Google is your best friend. With the internet, you can answer any question. I literally Google it and read a book, and most of my questions are answered.
Okay, so either come to TAI and take a 6-month course or use Google, or if you do feel the need, you can do an MBA, but I always say that today MBA costs about 10 to 15 lakhs, even 20, even 25. So if you take that same money and invest it in your own business, you might even lose some of it. But probably at the end of 2 years, you'll have a business running. So that would be my advice. We have an anonymous person who sent this question now to Gaurav Shah. In my late 20s, but very scared of investing a big money or emotion to new business myself, how did you decide?
I sit here and talk, but I have a fantastic business partner who backs me up. Vivek, I'd really like to recognize you. He's a very shy guy, and both of us decided in our college when we were probably 19, 20 years old that this is the business that we're going to be in, and we started planning for it 3 years from them. We traveled abroad. We were the only students in the entire Harvard University to have gone abroad to do our internship. So we've been kind of preparing for this day when we've actually launched a business, and it is after 3 years of hard work and study that has gone into it. Once you do a study and you have people backing you up, when we started off, I've never gone inside a kitchen, so for me to build a hotel is insane, right? So we had a lot of mentors. We had for every domain mentors. So there's one mentor for HR, there's one mentor for training, there's one mentor for this, that. So these mentors kind of help you a lot. The more you work on it, the more confidence you start getting, right? You build up a strong advisory board. You have a very strong team backing you up, so on and so forth. I don't know if I've answered your question successfully, but that's what worked for us.
I don't know who has asked this question, but please approach Gaurav after the session and ask him to be your mentor. Since you have had so many mentors now, I think time for him to give some mentorship also. That will be the next step in the journey. So, are there more questions from the audience, or we can continue? You can keep sending in your questions. Any failures that you have experienced in anything you've done? Because the one thing people are really afraid of is I'll fail. And they look at failure as the end of the road. But sometimes failure is just a lesson or a learning, or it's one obstacle that you cross in your path. So if you could share any experience of failure, either with your business or with any other significant examination or any kind of incident in your life where you feel that, yes, I failed, and how did you recover from it?
I can start. I'm really good at this. In college, I actually almost got kicked out. It wasn't very good. I went to UC Berkeley, and I think college was kind of preparation for that. It taught me that, if you fail, the best thing to do is get back up and just keep going. And with the business, with TRI regulations, we got shut down for 12 days because they changed it in September. But, thinking back, well, what else can you do? You dig back up, and we worked with our partners, and we got back up. Got through found some loopholes, got through.
You mean that bulk SMS was stopped? Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you do at that time? How did you bounce back?
Yeah, we actually reached out to our partners, and like Gaurav said, it's really good to have mentors and advisors, because we said, hey, this is what happened, and we had a champion in the SMS organization in NetCore who actually found a loophole for us, and we got the documentation, and the government was very helpful because we were working with the HDMC. They sent us a letter. We went through TRI, and then we got through in 12 days. It was great.
I want to add a couple of points when you asked about failure. Personally, I believe that entrepreneur doesn't fail in his goal. Even if he doesn't achieve, it's okay, because that is part of the journey. Where he fails is when he gives up mentally. I think that is something which I would like to share here, that we have never given up. Doesn't matter whether it's with the government bodies, or because in Sankalp we wanted it to be entrepreneurship with conscience, and we had lot of obstacles that we have faced, but somehow we have not given up, and we have ensured that we will keep our ethics in place. Apart from that, I think my only suggestion, in fact, Chandra Jain was also mentioning that, do you have that conviction in you? Do you believe in yourself? If yes, just go on, because final end results will not be in your control. So that will be a learning journey. I think that will not be the end of the world. So we should not be afraid.
Just like to add on to that quickly. The biggest failure that we faced, my place burned down. So a lot of you will be knowing when Seven Beans burned down, and the TV channels covered it, and the place got burned down, and the TV channels covered it, and the news covered it. And I remember there's this photo that my mom woke me up in the next day morning in the newspaper, and I'm right there standing, with my head held down, and the entire place that is burned down, and says, this place, Hotel in Vidyanagar, burned down. So that is one failure. And, I still remember that time when I was at my office, and someone just called up saying that, Lagu Barri Lenim, that in Kannada, that, and I thought someone is joking with me, and I still thought, why not go and see the place? And when I actually went there, I could see 1,000 people, some of the people who I see over here standing over there and kind of trying to put the fire down. We could either give up, or, there's not an option on the table at all. So we had to bounce back, and we did on the very same day.
Did you have insurance?
Yes, a lot of it.
Okay. Anybody else would like to share? Or we have a question also from the audience. Again from Chakor Gandhi. Today, entrepreneurs want to be rich overnight. What do you say? Are any of you rich? I mean, as per your
I think
own
that
bank account,
that's a very good question.
She's the only funded company. So she's rich.
I am funded.
But are you rich? I'm asking.
Yeah, so as I said, like it's an interesting question because it's very relative, and I think everybody can feel whether I'm rich or not. It depends on your own level of understanding. But I think personally, I think I am very rich because I hold equity in my companies. I don't know whether we will make it very big in someday, but just the feeling that I'm having it, I think I am rich. So that gives me a great feeling.
I've got a question here. So, quite motivating, and it is definitely very motivating listening to all you guys. I just want to ask, like, how has TiE and how has the ecosystem really helped you guys here? You know, this is very important. So, we would like to know, has TiE and the ecosystems been helping you? And
Yeah, so I think I can really answer this question to a reasonable level, convincing level to anyone here. First point I would want to add is TiE made me rich. I met entrepreneur at Hubli who have different perspective about life. I somehow feel richness is entrepreneurs got to become overnight rich if they want to become entrepreneurs at all. So first thing is that they will have to take into their mind that they are rich. They will have to have the rich knowledge. They will have to have the rich feeling. They will have to have the rich pride. They will have to have rich ownership. He serves rich coffee. So the richness is in the mind. It's not in the pocket. So TiE made me very rich. In just 6 months' time, I met entrepreneurs here, Sandeep Bitsaria, Gautam Vaswal, you know, TiE president that time. So like they just simply revolutionized my mind, changed my mind from how an entrepreneur will think from how actually previously I was thinking. So that perspective was like the thing that has actually changed my life forever. It's a permanent change that has happened.
I would like to relate your question with what Rashmi was asking about the challenges that we face. Although, you know, there is no complaint, but one of the things we see that for the new age kind of a business, we do not get well trained or well qualified people. So I have been in TiE for last about 1.5 years, and I see the kind of the guest lectures or training programs that is being conducted by HR Cell is something amazing. So I think every month we have 1 or 2 meetings, and my HR manager is really, you know, growing in terms of knowledge. Similarly, these kind of programs and meeting people, a lot of people are, you know, they are offering help by themselves. Vivek is all time. He always comes and asks, you have a problem, I'll help you, come. So we don't go to him. And Gautam, I remember that I had given only one name of a person and a city. He found out all the contact number, got me in, to meet him. So it is working. In fact, the ecosystem is definitely working. And last 2 years, we have seen tremendous change in Hubli.
So it's been a very exciting session here with young, hungry, foolish entrepreneurs, and I'm sure it's energized all of us to be passionate, be full of purpose, and to make Hubli a bigger destination for business, for enterprise, and to grow this event, to grow this whole spirit of doing and being, you know, in charge of your own destiny. Thank you very much. And I hope to hear more and more about you, not only in Hubli, but all over India and all over the world. Thank you.
thank you, Rashmi. Thank you very much, the Young Turks. It was really very nice listening to you. And we have really been motivated by listening to you. And the young crowd is really happy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Rashmi, for being with us. A small token of appreciation from TiE.